Are we live? Oh, we're live. It worked. How is everybody doing? Let me create a post. I tried to wait for my good friend um, to get done with his stream, but I had to go live because, darlings, I need to eat. Um, so I'm going to make sure that everybody knows we're live talking about the gaslighting, the lying, and the truth. So I am so thrilled. How are y'all doing? Leave me some comments. I'm gonna let me know that you can hear me. I know this is gonna take a real quick second for this to get out to all of the places of the places. So we're just gonna let people get up. Listen, we're here to talk tonight. You know, I haven't been talking a lot about the astrological transits, and so that's really we're gonna talk about the astrological transits quite a bit. We're going to talk about the astrological transits quite a bit tonight. Um, this is my birthday eve, child. This is my birthday eve. So I'm gonna give you guys an opportunity. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna come back and we're actually gonna do some readings tomorrow night on my birthday. If though some of y'all know, I absolutely love to spend my birthday with with y'all. I really do love to spend my birthday with y'all. So I should probably consider putting this on my Instagrams. Listen, let me go on and play. Hey, Savannah, you haven't forgotten. Okay, sweetheart. Um, Go on, child, and you better book it on in. I will have some time this Saturday. If you're a more of a weekend kind of girl. Um, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put. I don't know how to do this. You know, you would think I would know how to do this, to give a notification to my peoples. Um, I don't know how to do this. Why don't I not know how to do this? Okay, blah 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 blah. Group chat. Okay, so I'm gonna let my peeps know that I'm on live right now, and I will tell you the reason why I'm here tonight. Like I said, we're going to be talking about Uranus in Gemini because literally what I'm already seeing, and not gonna lie to you, what I am literally already seeing is a lot of, you know what, this isn't gonna work. Discard this chat. I'm just gonna make a notification. Um, I'm seeing already ton of a ton of the gaslighting, the lying, the things that we've already known for so long that have been true, and they're just lying to our faces. And so that's a huge thing for me right now. Um, you're an Aquarius stellium, Mercury, Sun. Oh boy, here, this is about to get real interesting. Mercury, Sun, Venus, Jupiter, all in the 11th house as well. Wow. Currently, Pluto is conjunct your Mercury in Aquarius. Aquarius Galactic Federation. That is some stuff going on. Let me find this security code. That is some stuff going on. That's a lot. 429-101. I apologize. I should have had this all ready to go. That's a lot. The last time Uranus was in Gemini is 84 years. Actually, yep. So I actually got all of that information. Like I have some things that we're going to show you about that as well. So let me just do a really quick post. Select from my computer. Open. Uh, 16 by 9. Next. Live on YouTube right now. All right. I usually, it's interesting because I'm actually going to be converting some of this stuff over. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to talk about all of this. 107. I've got all of this. I got all of this. Well, that's one way to look at it, but I think that there's some other ways to look at it. So I'm going to play my intro, and then we're going to get started. Okay, I'm going to let this notifications go out just a little bit more, and then we are going to get started. Here we go. All righty, we are back. Welcome. Okay, let's talk a little bit, shall we? Let's just have a really quick chat with ourselves. The one thing that I do want you all to, hey, Cericia, how are you, sweetie? The one thing that I do want everyone, let's just say, to remember, and I think I should show can I show the chat still on the screen? Let me see if I can. Yep, here we go. The one thing I want y'all to remember is that we are in a time period when things, the new earth, we've been talking about new earth, new time, change of times, change of the age. We're in the midst of it right now. We're so hot in the midst of it right now that it's not even funny. Like you cannot deny that although there are some transits that are, of course, every transit repeats, because there is a zodiac wheel, there is a transit time, there is a time, and ages repeat, and everything happens in cycles. So while these cycles may be repeating, and some of these cycles actually haven't occurred in so long that it's pretty insane. And I don't think that we've had the exact precise cycle like we have it now. And so that's pretty interesting as well. But when we have cycles, major cycles, so the major outer planets, right? Uranus, Pluto, and Neptune, because I still count Pluto as a planet. I don't care. Y'all can downgrade it if you want to. But it is definitely a planet, and will forever be a planet to me. When you have those cycles, right, those planets that all have moved signs simultaneously, and they've done major movements. What I mean by that? Yes, of course, a sign, anytime we change signs, it's a major movement. But when you have them all kind of moving on this axis simultaneously, to me, that especially when Pluto moves into another sign, that is typically the signal for a future age. Definitely it's generational. But this go around, it was even more so because of the sign that it was entering into, because it was coming into this Gnosis Aquarius, the global knowledge, right? And then when you juxtapose that with the fact that the Earth is the spinning of the Earth, if we won't talk about flat Earth right now, but the spinning of the Earth is faster. Okay, so the movement is faster. The resonance of the Schumann resonance is off the charts, off the charts. And you also simultaneously have us quite solidly in this asteroidish kind of this band of energy that only occurs every 10,000, once every 10,000 years. This is a significant world-altering change. I feel like the last time this world-altering change happened probably would have been, you're talking prehistoric times. I haven't spoken quite a bit today, so this is my problem. They're talking prehistoric times. Like we're talking like major age, not just minor. And if it's not prehistoric, it's pretty close. So we're talking a new everything from governmental structure to spirituality structure. And that in and of itself makes things extremely significant. So that's why I kind of wanted to come today, because if now I'm not making any statements politically one way or the other. I'm just going to make some observations, shall we? I'm not making any political statements one way or the other. I'm going to say that again. I'm just making some observations. So if we take the observations as what they are, I find it quite interesting that now in America, I'm not going to say what's going on elsewhere in the world. I need some more insight. But in America, it really appears to me that no matter which side of the aisle you're on, it is we're in a time period now where it's like, oh, well, my party of choice has lied to me pretty much all my life, and my party of choice has lied to me pretty much all my life. And so now there's this bunch of displaced people. And it seems like we're in bizarro world, right? If you never understood that there was truly kind of this uniparty or this oversight, overlord, oligarchy, elite group of people that run everything, and it doesn't really matter what they say their political stance is, at least in the current system, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they just want power. Now, y'all can think however you want to about current president, past president, future president. I don't care what you think. I'm just telling you what I see. It doesn't, at the end of the day, matter. Will we maybe get some things out of them? Sure. But anytime you can sit here and tell me that a certain person didn't have a client list, they didn't have a client list, it was all only them, solo dolo, you can miss me with all that. Like you have lost your mind, because we all know better. Like this isn't something that is up for discussion to me at this point. This is something that's just truth and knowledge. That there was clients that they did, work for potentially other, I believe as well, other countries, and there were intelligence for those other countries. I believe there was blackmail. I believe there's all sorts of things. And I believe a lot of children were harmed, and would still be being harmed to this day. Now, and I believe they were harmed and sacrificed. Said all that in the first 12 to 13 minutes, and sacrificed for power reasons. There's a reason why during the trial that just ended with Sean Puff Daddy Combs, you remember before all that stuff happened, before the trial started, and what were they telling us? Oh, he was running kids, and I'm not going to say that he wasn't. I don't know. I can't even say for sure. Do you know why I can't say for sure? Because there was not one child. There was not one child that was brought up. Not one. So we're being lied to and gaslit. Do I think that there was? I do, but that's allegedly. That's my opinion. So why are you not bringing it out? Because there's powerful people that don't want this stuff brought up. And so what we're seeing is a fracture in the matrix is literally fracturing, because we, the people, have decided we're not just going to believe what you say anymore because you've now been proven to lie. And we know what our eyes saw and we know what our ears heard. And not only that, up until this point, the internet is rather undefeated. People will screen record you and have your information, have that video that you made 10 years ago, baby. They'll bring that bad boy up, as some people have now seen. And what we're not going to do is we're not going to say, yeah, it's okay to take care of our economics, but it's okay. We'll take the economic portion of things, and we'll just ignore the kids. And anybody that does is not. I'm going to tell you, I don't care how you feel about it. Anybody that says it's okay to ignore all that stuff that went on and allow ourselves to be gaslit and allow ourselves to almost be played and allow somebody to sit there and say, well, I don't know why you're paying attention to that anymore. Like, why is that an issue? If you can sleep at night and say that that's okay, then I'm sorry. That's disgusting. That's not quote unquote Christian. I don't care that's my opinion and I'm going to stick to it. My point is there's so many things, and I'm sure you guys can drop in the chat. What are some of the things lately, other than the man with the island that supposedly unalived himself, but we all know didn't, and probably is still actually living somewhere, actually, probably. I don't know. That's a real conspiracy theory. Do you feel like you've been gaslit about? Drop it in the chat. I want to know what you feel like you've been gaslit about. And we're gonna so we're gonna talk about all this. So now what I'm gonna do, by the way, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put down there's a couple things to put down in the banners. So tomorrow, remember tomorrow I said I'm doing birthday. So I'm gonna keep this scrolling across the bottom. Tomorrow about 7:30 in the evening, I'm gonna get on and we're gonna do some birthday stuff. I might do it twice tomorrow, but if you want to get in and get your reading done early, that's how you can get in, and you can do the PayPal or Cash App tonight, and then we'll get you in order. I'll send you back a message and let you know that I got it, and then we'll get you in the order. I have my little birthday readings list down here, and I got my little pencil because I hate finding with a pen trying to write. So that's going on tomorrow. And then also there's going to be a couple things we'll put up during the time period that we're together. One of which is going to be that I'm having also for those of you that are ready to start your businesses or just, because I'm going to show you why actually now is a good time to do whatever it is you've been planning on doing. Whatever it is you've been planning on doing, you need to get it started now. And so I'm doing something this weekend that's $97. And then we're also doing another bigger thing, and we'll talk about that separately. That is a boot camp and a complete build. That's going to be the weekend of August, the 2nd and 3rd, and then I'm doing it in New York City, in Manhattan, August 6th through 7th and 8th. All right, here we go. You guys ready? God's chosen people's country. Yeah, well, I'm questioning. I'm going to tell you something. Hey, Deshaun, how you doing? I'm going to tell you this is how I feel about this. And y'all can think how you want to. We understand that this is basically a mirror world, right? This is a mirror world. And so I think we need to begin to question what's truly north and what's truly south. In other words, what is the truth and what isn't? What's been altered and changed to fit the narrative and the oligarchy and the elite structure? Because when we can begin to question that with some honesty, I told someone that I spoke to just yesterday, and they said they had a very real, transformation as a result of their relationship with Christ, their encounter with Christ. I said, you had an encounter with Christ consciousness. You had an encounter with Christ consciousness. That is different. That is different than having an encounter, than what has become Christianity right now is. And we'll go deep into that another time. I'm very well, thank you, sir. How are you? Listen, they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Yes, absolutely. Aquarius Galactic Federation, known as the Age of Enlightenment, Age of Aquarius, absolutely. So we're going to talk about all that right now. Okay, gang? Let me show my face this way. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. I can't say that enough. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to. Let's look at the current chart. Let me see if I might need to do this to make this even. Can you guys see this okay? I'm gonna have to really, I don't like the fact that I can't really do what I want to, but okay. All right, here we go. You guys know how I like to draw. So we have Uranus that has entered at 0 degrees in Gemini. And I want you, this is a moon chart. So, as from the perspective of the earth, if you were born, I think this is tomorrow. If you were born tomorrow, this is what your birth chart would look like. So that's why Gemini is in the 11th house. But I do find it very interesting because if you were born today, tomorrow, yesterday, whatever, your Gemini would be roughly in the 10th or the 11th house. So I do find that interesting. But let's talk about Uranus. Uranus is revolutionary, disruptive, highly disruptive, revolutionary change. It's also because it is a co-ruler of Aquarius. It is also associated with technological advances, communication, could be disruption. And I'm going to tell you why I'm feeling the bit of the communication disruption. Communication disruption. In other words, you know what it's like to be a disruptor in an industry. You come in with something brand new, come in with something revolutionary, and you disrupt the status quo. And it usually what ends up happening is that industry then changes, morphs into something completely different. And what are the biggest, let's just say, sellers or foundational pillars of that industry then change. Uranus being at 0 degrees, it's a very potent degree. As you guys, if you follow astrology at all, you know that the 0 degree mark and the 29 degree mark are just absolutely the most potent, powerful on your way in and on your way out, right? That's when we're making the grand entrance and the grand exit. It is going to go retro back into into Taurus for a little bit, so we'll have a little bit of a breather, but then it will come back in and it'll be there for quite some time. Because he is trining his home, right, of Aquarius. And then we also have the other change agent, which is personal. Usually it's more so personal change, of course, with Pluto being in Aquarius at this present time. And at the time of this recording, it is actually in retrograde. Okay, we have actually, when soon Uranus is going to go into retrograde, but we have Pluto in retrograde, we have Saturn, and we have Neptune in Aries in retrograde. And then where's Mercury? Because Mercury should be, is it gone retro? Did it go direct again? That's interesting. Okay, anyway, we have those. So basically all the outer planets, if you want to count Saturn as an outer planet as well, they're all in retrograde. Now, a lot of people feel real weird and funky about that because they're like, oh, it's retrograde, da, da, da. I personally like a good, healthy retrograde. Why? Because a good, healthy retrograde gives us an opportunity not only to review, but it gives us an opportunity to say, yo, wait a minute, right? It gives us an opportunity to, we've had the the luxury, or we've had a bit of a taste of what it's like for that particular planet to be ingressed in that sign, and now we have a minute to kind of regroup and everything. But it also gives us an opportunity, if we go on the offensive in certain areas, to then conquer or overcome or heal from certain other things. When I see Uranus and it's trining, right, Pluto, so now I have global macular, change, and then I have personal change as well, both happening in communication and global, right think, or what's good for the what is supposed to be good for the general population, for the community, for humanity in general. We really are beginning to see not only the rise of AI, and I don't know if you guys have know this, but on the 14th of July, evidently there was a complete reboot of the operating system upon which the US dollar is traded, like, or how money moves between banks. That happened on the 14th. It went down and came back up, and it came back up digitally, right? So it is completely capable now of handling all kinds of digital currency. Okay. You go find out what that means a little bit more. I'm not going to tell you that on this particular moment in time. But what I can, and then of course yesterday I think was like Digital Currency Day. It was either yesterday or the 14th. Oh, the 14th was yesterday. Wake up. Everything is changing rapidly. Our communication methods, everything is changing rapidly. What I see with the gaslight is the group, the government, Saturn, right? Saturn's in retrograde right now in Aries. So the government, and the government that has put itself above us, or we've allowed to be put above ourselves, has been lying to us, gaslighting us, trying to say up is down and down is, up, and saying, don't believe your lying eyes, I'm going to tell you what you should believe. But the difference this time is we are not within this Neptunian trance. In fact, what's happening is because we have Saturn and Neptune in Aries right now, and both of them are going retrograde, we are in a state right now where we are wanting and thriving and desiring and looking for sovereignty, especially of our higher self. We are no longer interested in folks ruling and reigning over some of us. There are some that are going to be stuck in this. They're choosing to be stuck. Understand what I'm saying? When you can choose to be stuck in a religious trance, you can choose to remain there. And some people will call that faith and belief. That's cool. That's fine. And I'm not saying anybody is wrong for that. But what I am saying is what's happening is we are being elevated to and given the opportunity to have sovereignty. We're being given the opportunity to be able to go within and find our divinity. This is what this is a huge part of what this age of Aquarius is all about. Is this sovereignty, this divinity, this mastering the divine from within. Okay? The mastering from the divine from within. And not only that, operating as our sovereign being. So when the government that we have allowed, when the structures, the religious, governmental, financial, all those structures then stop working for us, and we're like, you know what, I know better. And when those structures then try to lie to us and make us think that we're dreaming or we're seeing something, we're hallucinating, and here it is, they're like, wait a minute, no. You can't believe what you said. No. I need you to go back to where you came from when you were able to be controlled. And Uranus over here, this is why I'm going to tell you something. That when it came out that the particular video that was missing a minute from the center, the jail, that it was missing a minute, and then it came out also that the metadata said it had been altered by Adobe Premiere. That's Uranus and Gemini at work. That's Uranus and Gemini at work. Why is that? Because that's using technology to show us, technology to communicate. Oh no, y'all lying. Y'all lying. Y'all took technology and thought you could miscommunicate something and we would just believe it. Now, before anybody gets all, rah-rah, I will go in on the other side. So ain't nobody safe with me. Nobody is safe with me. I'm just talking about the latest and greatest thing, because that everybody been lying. I don't trust nobody. So this Uranus in Gemini, it is going into a personal house. It's coming out of a personal house to personal house of what I have. And I'm sure my Taurians and my Earth signs are really glad, because it has been a tumultuous 7 or so years for y'all, ain't it? It has been a little bit rough. Okay, a little bit rough. And just globally, we've had this craziness. So now we're settling in, how are we going to communicate with one another? And the revolution has begun. And it is being not only televised, but it's being streamed. So you have to question whether or not something's real or not, whether or not it's AI created or not, whether or not it's a deep fake or not. But also on the other side, when you can embrace the technology and then also this personal spiritual technology. I said this when I first got on YouTube, however many years ago, that there would come a time when you were not going to be sure whether or not a person was a person and they were real, unless you could discern that they had a spirit and a soul. And I had no idea however long ago that was, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I had no idea that was going to come to pass. I had no idea that was going to come to pass this quickly. But we are in a space where, unless you can discern that voice, that face, that is, it has a soul behind it, a spirit, a higher being, you're going to get lost in the sauce. And then what ends up happening is, once people know it, then if it's incongruent with this personal gnosis, so in other words, if they have no idea really who they are, Pluto and how they relate to the general population, how they relate to the greater good, how they relate to the collective, Pluto in Aquarius, and whether or not they've staked their claim in this collective good, also Pluto in Aquarius, because if you know anything about Pluto or know anything about Scorpio, there's also contracts, land contracts, real estate, ownership of, right? There's a digital space that you need to claim. There's an energetic space even beyond the digital space that you need to claim. This is all feeding into the autonomy. This is all feeding into the autonomy. Now, if it feels like, why are things going weird and wonky and freaking nuts and crazy? Let me tell you something. I mean, in my hometown of Milwaukee, some crazy things have been happening. Okay? Crazy things have been happening. Children being unalived by their parent, their father, at 4 years old using a pew-pew, 7-year-olds being abducted, and then it's like the daddy ran inside, and it seems like the boy knew, and it was potentially over mind-altering substances or some kind of money that was owed. We don't even know. Like, the crazy things that are happening all over. We've been having storms. It's coming at night, every night here. Every night for the last week and a half maybe. Every night. Storms. Didn't happen on 4th of July, but storms. bad storms, and not the power out here. That's how bad the storms are. There's flash flooding in North Carolina. The floods that are happening in Texas, the weird storms that are just popping up all over in certain states, all over the country, or in the South mainly, and all over the country from what I've seen. So people are meddling with the weather, technology. What happens when the power goes out? Unless you're charged up, you can't even communicate. Or what if the cell towers go out? Or what, you know what I'm saying? So we are having to really understand that technology, during this 7 years, the advances in technology are going to be so immense, you are not going to be able to keep up with them unless you choose to keep up with them, which I think you can keep up with them, and you're going to need to. Because if you don't, right, if you don't, you're not going to necessarily know what's true, what's real, what's not. And there is a way to move within and out of this matrix, but that doorway is going to end up being kept by AI, if that makes sense. There's a father that, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So, we're at this, we're at this period of time, if you are a Bible reader, that we're in this, father against, sons against fathers, yada, yada, young men will dream dreams. But my feeling on all of this prophecy is that the reason why the prophecy is coming true is because so many people have spoken it into existence over centuries. And there's enough people that believe it and have, visualized it, and it's becoming manifest. Think what you will. So we can be radical in the philosophies and how what we are speaking into this earth to change it. Okay. Let's see. Wanted to be outside and still telling their stories through AI. Yeah, I mean, there is some of that. There is definitely some of that. Okay, let's move on. I wanted to show you guys, I think, can I make this bigger? I'll make it bigger so you guys can see. Okay. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah, you can. All right. I'm going to go over the last 4 times that Uranus entered into Gemini, and then we're also going to talk about where Pluto was, where Neptune was, and then we'll talk about why this is so unique. So the last time was May 16th, 1942 through June 10th, 1949. World War II turning points. So U.S. entry, D-Day, and Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This was also the birth of the United Nations. So look for something else very dramatic to be happening. I feel like this is going to be some sort of interstellar, interdimensional, interplanetary. I think there's going to be 2 that are going to show up. I think there's going to be, of course, we'll have I do believe that there will be a galactic federation that's going to show up in a big way, in an open way. But I also do believe that there is more shadow, lower vibrational type energy, of an oppressive energy, because understand that not all, if you believe in the Anunnaki, not all Anunnaki are bad. You go find out the story of Enlil and Enki, and get those tablets and read those, and then you'll see that. So I do believe that this is going to be more interplanetary. But not only the birth of the United States and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, also jet planes, radar, and the first programmable computers also entered the scene during that transit. It was post-war geopolitical map, right, in early Cold War. Okay. Deshaun, let me deal with that in just a minute. Let me go over this right now. During this time where Uranus was in Gemini, Pluto was in Leo, so it was sextiling. So that gave that particular generation a huge amount of willpower and dramatic. There were power shifts that happened. And Neptune began in late Virgo and it shifted to Libra in October of 1942, where there was the collective quest for peace. We're going to go through these four and then we'll go through the differences right now. Then the time before that was June 9, 1858 through June 30th of 1865, the Civil War and Emancipation, all within that time period. Unification, wars between Italy and Germany, transatlantic telegraph cables. So there was transatlantic, the first attempt is in 1858. Darwin's Origin of the Species, Darwin's On the Origin of Species was published in 1859, and then mass production of steel and railways. So there was huge amounts of connectivity physically. Interestingly enough, Pluto was in Taurus then, so there was also this upheaval of finance. Of course, that really put the Civil War put the U.S. in a very precarious financial position, land and values. So there's a lot of change then with Pluto and the internal, what we valued. And then Neptune was in Pisces, and then Neptune crossed in Aries. So this is what we can also look for, because we are in the same transit with Uranus being in Gemini and Neptune being in Aries. It crossed into Aries one day after the first shot of the Civil War on April 13th. So we can see why now we've got, and it's not really a civil war, but it is a civil war of the mind, right? Of values. I don't know if you all are seeing the same thing I'm seeing and feeling the same way I'm feeling, but this is a civil war of mind and belief system. And there's certainly people are saying there's a civil war within MAGA. I feel like there's a civil war amongst Democrats as well that's already been going on, because we have progressives versus, more traditional liberals versus, and everybody is versus the establishment on either side. So we do have all of this kind of, where does this go happening? It just hasn't erupted into physical violence, which I'm glad it hasn't. But there certainly is a war of belief, a war of thought, a war of, there is a definite battle for what group is going to actually run things. And I think that what's going to end up happening is we are going to finally have the birth of a legitimate, viable third party. I think that's the only logical thinking. That's the only logical thing, because if you think about it, what happened, let me just kind of go this size. What happened as a result of the Civil War is a lot of things just generally changed, right? So how the country operated, well, it changed on the surface. Let me put it this way. A lot changed on the surface, but the underlying sentiment was the same. And I think that is because of where Pluto was and not necessarily Neptune, because Pluto was in Taurus and Neptune started out in Pisces. But I need to look back and see if we had a Saturn transit in Aries as well, because if you are not going to govern yourself differently, Saturn in Aries, then if the macro government changes, then it's not necessarily going to give you a change in how you actually behave. Does that make sense? I feel very strongly that the beauty of having Saturn in the midst of all of this is that we are changing how we're choosing to govern and structure ourselves based upon our relationship with the universe, with God, with Creator, and our relationship with our own divine nature. That's the best safe research. Okay, let's go back. Will the fourth, or you mean third party, be a voice for the people? Or, you know, we're going to talk about that too. I'm going to come back to that one, and I'm going to come back to this November one. I'm going to star you guys because I want to come back to that. Okay, let me go back to this. And, oh, duh. Okay, here we go. The third one, the next one back, was June 21st, 1774 through March 28th of 1782. The American Revolution from 1775 to 1783, the Declaration of Independence, 1776. There was a steam engine, so again, this was more transportation and allowing us to get in each other's presence sooner and moving raw materials and things like that. And Enlightenment pamphlet culture and the first daily newspapers. Well, isn't that special? Enlightenment culture and the first daily newspapers. Isn't that cool? Well, what do we have now? We have new media on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Substack, X, TikTok. That's our new Enlightenment pamphlet culture. Isn't that beautiful? And the first daily newspapers, well, now we can get our news every hour on the hour, 24 hours a day, 365 a day. And no matter what the slant and no matter what, you can get all kinds of perspectives and you'll get a better perspective and a more in-depth perspective. This is my feeling if you do it on the YouTubes or Rumble or, you you do it via new media, because the legacy media, just all they do is lie. Okay, and that's that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. And then finally, bringing up the rear, all the way back in 1690, May 4th of 1690, all the way through April 27th of 1697, there was a 9 years war. I want you all to see something. Every time that that Uranus enters into Gemini, and I'm not trying to fearmonger, I'm not trying to fearmonger. Every time Uranus enters Gemini, there's war. I'll say it one more time. Every time Uranus enters Gemini, there's a war. And in fact, we started out the year prior to, because Uranus just entered into Gemini. I want you to notice something. We were, quote unquote, pulling out of Ukraine. We were having peace talks. There was peace talks over Gaza, and then right before the kind of in the shadow period, then there was all this stuff going on over there again. And there's a tenuous ceasefire right now. And now we have this infighting here that I don't think is going to I don't know. Well, some could say that the immigration thing, deportation is a war on the people. I'm not going to give a feeling on that one way or the other. But this is what I will say. I find it interesting that once we got to 0 degrees Gemini, now all of a sudden we're sending weaponry back over there. Literally, there's been a war of words and a war of thought and a war of video and a war of speech and a war of all of this stuff going on, for the last few days, last week maybe, within camps and multiple camps. So I would be remiss if I told you that I didn't think that was going to happen. Do I think it'll hit our shores? No, I don't think so. It looks very different now, right? Not U.S. shores. Unfortunately, I do think there's plenty of other countries where they're going to be even further war torn. So it depends on what type of a war it is. That's why I'm saying this. So Deshaun, I understand what you're saying. But can you break out of this Gemini and right, people can break out of that. So there's a breaking out, but then there's how do you break out of something of a chart? Like how do you escape it if that chart is negative? So let's go this route as well. I don't, because it's been a while since I've done this, so I need to make sure people that are watching this later understand. I don't assign a negative or a positive to things. Things are neutral. Things are what they are. There's shadow and there's light. There's higher energy and then there's dark energy. I don't assign a good or a bad because everything must happen in its due time and in its way. I do understand, though, that there is as above, so below, but there's also a yin and a yang. There's also two sides to every coin. And I believe that the reason why that there's been so much happening lately in the way that it's been happening is because, and again, I've been talking about this for a few years now, because of the split between 3D and 4/5D. Time in and of itself is sped up, 40 has sped up to a point where, you can get to a point where you're moving so fast that it appears that you're standing still. And you can also move so fast that you disappear. So time is tearing. The time continuum is tearing. It is speeding up. It is evolving, so that it can, because this earth has to be able to handle and still have us here as higher evolved beings. This is another area where I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say, some of you might think this is absolutely crazy, but I don't think it is. In the Bible, there's and in other spiritual, but I'm just going to go to the Bible. When Jesus returned, right, he came back as flesh, but he was a transfigured body. Let's just call it translated transfigured body. He could appear and materialize, or he could go back and be energy again. If you notice, those of us who are on this path towards enlightenment, we're on this path towards higher knowledge, we're on this path, right, towards truly living out of Christ consciousness, your body's changing. If you're honest, your body is changing, your mind is changing, things are changing. This earth has to be able to accommodate both the changing group and the group that's like stuck, and that's going to be stuck 3D. I believe there's a lot of allegorical in the whole end times revelatory concepts, and we can talk about that. But I do believe that this earth must change in order to accommodate all of the various frequencies, to be able to accommodate a higher range of higher frequency especially. But understand that with a higher range of higher frequency, there's also a balance. This earth always has to be in balance. So there's going to be a deeper frequency. I do feel like there's going to be like this third dimensional war, conflicts after conflicts after conflicts, because don't forget, what do the people that always quote Revelation or always quote various other prophetic scriptures and end time scriptures in the Bible, what do they always say? There shall be wars and rumors of wars and and man against that, blah, 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 blah. They've spoken this so much time, and they're still speaking it right now. They're still speaking it right now. They've spoken it so much and they believe in it so much that they are literally willing it to happen. They are making it manifest. That is just a metaphysical principle. That is a universal principle. That's not woo, that's not new age. That is a principle that is fact. If you focus on a thing, if you speak a thing, if your intention is towards that thing, that thing will be made manifest. Period. End of discussion. There's nothing else that can happen. Now, y'all might not like it. Some people watching this may be like, oh, she's a heretic. Okay, cool. But why do you think that you pray prayers? Do you think you just pray prayers just so they float off and they just don't do anything? No, you speak a thing into existence. You say, be thou moved and cast into the sea. So if you keep speaking it, don't you think that this is just like, and I'm not gonna say I always understood this. I didn't really get this revelation until rather recently. I didn't get this revelation. So what I'm saying is this: there's always going to be a group of people that are going to speak this thing into existence. And I can look and see, and there's always going to be a group that's going to be at each other's throats. And there's just always going to be. But I do believe when you're talking about escaping, well, that sounds rather rapturous, doesn't it? So when you're talking about escaping, I believe that the higher that you elevate, the less any of these things actually affect you. And the more you're up here and you're kind of looking down and you're just going, I mean, you and I had some conversation via Insta, right? And all this stuff that's going on. What I tell you, I love it in my bubble. I live in my bubble. Brand new. So I know these things are going on, and I pray for the people, and I pray for those affected, and I hold space for them, and whatever I can do to help them, I do. He always does this. Hold on. Sweetheart, I'm live. You want to join me on the YouTubes? Okay, baby. Okay, bye-bye. And my friend. I swear YouTube I don't be going live enough, so I can't even get mad at YouTube for not telling y'all I be live. Oh, my God, today. Okay. Anyway. So I believe that that's what's happening. Okay, so hold on. Deshaun, there's also war on common sense and Child, there's been war on that for forever. Okay, but really people want revolution of some. The Christians such as these, I can't read everything you be putting down here. Wanted the war, correct, they did. And they believe that Christ will come back. It is, and let me tell you, what they don't understand, they're looking for a physical being to come back. And another time we will talk about, I'm going to have to do that behind the paywall, though. I'm not going to do that on these YouTubes because they've been and had my neck. But what I do believe is that what is returning, and we're seeing it return now, is the Christ consciousness. We're seeing the dawn of Christ consciousness, of a 5D interdimensional race of, if you will, humanity that appears or interacts with 3D much like a Palladian or, like a fifth dimensional being or higher. So yes, they speak. Yes, that group unfortunately can be some of the most money, like warmongering group of people. But they don't know any better because they've been taught that all these things have to happen before Christ can return. All right, let me continue. So during the 1690 to 1697, 9 years war reshaping European alliances. So what did we also see? So we had World War II happen that reshaped the world. We had the U.S. Civil War and Emancipation happen, which reshaped us. We had the American Revolution happen, which would reshape the world again. And then we have the 9 years. So this is going to reshape the world, guys. This is the beauty of astrology. We see the patterns. We can see the patterns. Okay, we can see the patterns. I'm gonna go to my X. So hopefully I'm live over there. Am I not live? Okay, good. I was really worried. How are we doing on X? Ooh, see, my X people don't want, I love y'all. Hello on X. They love when I talk about Diddy over there and I talk about other stuff. They'll have to get used to me. I'm all right. What else happened? The first paper currency in North America, so the dollar happened. Now, also remember, there's been financial stuff that's always, so the fact that on July the 14th, then all of a sudden the crypto kind of digital currency system was turned on. The operating system for how like we were transferring money was off and then back on. Hey, Lynn, how are you, sweetheart? Was off and then back on. Okay. So now the ledgers can handle cryptocurrencies, digital currencies. I ain't saying, but I'm saying. The Salem witch trials also happened, showing mass hysteria versus rational inquiry. Where we seen that at? Where we done seen that at? The Bank of England was chartered. Oh, crypto. And then early postal systems and coffee house news culture. Well, do you see the pattern? No, the crypto thing is on now. Now the U.S. banking system can officially handle transferring money using crypto. Okay? Sweetheart, we're not going to, where else? I mean, he's put them everywhere. Remember, I'm not going to be political on this because I'm going to tell you, both sides have done some tomfoolery and effery. And I'm not, he done put them everywhere. So, I mean, what? He did what, 70% or 100%? Was it 70% to Canada? Okay, anyway. During this time, which planet was this? Pluto started out in Cancer and then entered into Leo, which you might remember was the same place it was in during World War II, where there was a generational willpower and dramatic power shift. However, back in 1690, there was royal power contests and the theater, right, with the theater monarchy. And then this time, Neptune was in Pisces throughout the entirety of the time. So there was a wave of it was a change in spirituality, mysticism, and global exploration was then beat down during that time period. And that then evolved everything else. Now, the patterns. Communication leaps in every cycle. Gemini rules information flow. So each cycle, each Uranus visit coincided with a breakthrough medium. The postal networks, pamphlets, telegraph, rail grids, radio, radar, proto-computers, ideological revolutions under Plutonian shifts. In 3 of the 4 periods, Pluto changed signs mid-transit, mirroring seismic power realignments. This time it's already changed. So we were already beginning to have ideological revolutionary changes to, remember we talked about this when Pluto entered into Aquarius. We were changing internally in how we relate to the world. And then Neptune's mood colors the narrative. So we're seeing spiritual, artistic, or utopian waves when it's in Pisces, active idealism in Libra, or here we go, because it's in Aries, raw pioneering impulse. Raw pioneering impulse in Aries. Overlay everything that's going on. Now, let me remove this. Now, this raw pioneering energy, when we go back to the chart, go back to the chart, pull the chart up. Where are we? Not only do we have the raw pioneering energy right here, we're going to make this red with Neptune, but we also have the I need to create a structure that works for me in Saturn, in Aries. Hear me clearly. We have this raw pioneering, I have to do something new and different energy, personal as well as global. So we're going to see a lot of advancements in everything that we do. And this is the chart for tomorrow, I believe. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. But we are also, right, going to see a deep-seated, you can't not have it energy of I need to rule myself. This is why this whole person with the island thing was such a problem. Because people were like, I did, this is what people was saying. I didn't put you in office for you to lie to me. I didn't put you in office to not do what you said you was going to do. Now you done it over here and over here and over here. But this is important. And you're just going to lie. You're just going to basically tell me go F myself, and that's not important. Oh no, pimp, you got that wrong. Put you in there, we're going to take you out. Do you understand what I'm saying? We put you in there. So this is a situation where people thought that they could count on their base. And other people have learned this before. But now this group is learning, oh, I thought I had you bamboozled. Now, I'm not saying y'all was I'm not saying anybody that voted for the man was bamboozled. Please don't take me wrong. I'm saying this is their thought process. Oh, I thought I had you in my back pocket. It's one of those things. Oh, I can't say it like that. Anyway, because people are going to take that the wrong way. But that's what we're seeing. And then because now both of these are in retrograde, and so we're also like, yo, wait a minute. No. You're not fixing to renege. You said we were going to have all this autonomy. You were going to free us from this. You were going to blah, 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 blah. And we don't want these people that have done this stuff overseeing us anymore anyway. So they got to go. This is what you're going to continue to see this. This is not going to stop. The revolution will be televised and streamed all at the same time. Okay? It's not going to stop. And we are so technologically now advanced and advancing, and we've already made personal changes to say, I'm not allowing, this is where I fit into the group think, but I'm also not going to allow the group think to rule over me. Do you understand what I'm saying? This says group think, cancel culture, whatever, that's dead. That's dead and gone. I am who I am. I don't care if you like it or not. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Well, nobody cares about the rules. This is the thing. Nobody cares about the rules. Nobody cares about the rules. If you think any of these elected officials thus far, cared about the rules, you are sorely, sadly mistaken. They care about the rules until they don't need to. Anyway, I want to show this and then I'll answer some questions. Oh, not that one. Remove. Okay. Oh, y'all not gonna be able to see that. Let me see if I can open it up over here, y'all. Hold on one second. Oh, excuse me. My God, today. Let me go over here. You would think that I hadn't gotten enough rest, but I guess I probably haven't. Okay, let me blow this up, and then we're going to remove this, and let me share my screen. Stop that screen, and we're going to share this screen. Okay. All right, y'all can see that a bit better, and I can blow that up even more so y'all can read that. And let me take the comments off the screen so you can completely read it. You know, I try to make sure that even my people that may not have the best sight. Okay, here we go. Here's this outer planet core defined. I don't know if you're not going to not see that. Okay, so this is for astrologers, a chord is a short span in which 3 slow planets occupy signs that resonate with one another and therefore sound together. I'm going to say that very slowly. An outer planet chord, I did not know what this was, so that's why I'm pulling this up. For astrologers, a chord is a short span or a short amount of time in which 3 slow planets or outer planets occupy signs that resonate with one another and therefore sound or their energy harmonizes in some way together. This is what we have. We have Pluto in Aquarius from March 23rd, 2023, all the way until January 19th of 2044, an entire generation. And it's going to go back and, back once or twice into Capricorn. I think one more time. Now, coinciding with this, we had from March 30th on 2025 now until May 22nd of 2039. So a week after Pluto entered into Aquarius, not a week, 2 years after Pluto entered into Aquarius, Neptune, in the same month, by the way, starting off fresh in the new astrological year, entered into Aries. And then again, once it exits Aries and goes into Taurus, it'll come back into Aries for a short time. So it's going to spend its entire Aries transit while Pluto is in Aquarius. So I want you to think about this need for innovation, this need for personal freedoms, spiritual freedoms, rethinking everything, finally adhering to and realizing your dreams, realizing that there's been some illusions, realizing all of these things, understanding on a deep spiritual basis what you are capable of and what you in concert, in conjunction with the greater good in the universe can do. You're going to have that entire time in Aries. Also, Aquarius and Aries do what? They sextile. So remember, the sextile relationship is like cousins. So this is like cousins, your favorite cousin. Okay? Then finally, we have Uranus and Gemini from July 2025 all the way through August 2032, and then also from December 2032 to June 24 to 33. The interesting concept about this, I want you to grasp what I'm saying here. This almost rarely just happens this way. I won't say rarely, but it doesn't happen as often as you would think. We have a situation where Pluto is going to be sextiling Neptune. Neptune is going to be sextiling Uranus and Gemini and Pluto. Remember, all of these last 4 Uranus transits May No. The only time Pluto and Aquarius were trining each other, Pluto and Uranus were trining each other, was the last time Pluto was in Aquarius back in 1774 to 1782. It's been a minute. 200 plus years, 250 years, doesn't matter. Oh, now that'll preach. 250 years. So at the birth of this nation was the last time that Pluto was in Aquarius and Uranus was in Gemini. So are we about to see a rebirth of the nation? I think so. I think we're about to see a rebirth of a nation. But this rebirth of this nation, this is why I'm telling y'all, the revolution will be televised and it will be streamed at the same time. It will be televised and it will be streamed all at the same time. At the same time, we have Neptune in Aries, which in the 1700s, Neptune was in Virgo, so there was a very pragmatic, idealistic time period. Now we just have Neptune in Aries. It's just basically piss and vinegar and just fiery. It's like, listen, I don't care what you're trying to say. I ain't trying to hear you. It don't matter to me what you're saying. I don't comprehend. I don't get it. Because it doesn't jive with what I know to be true. It doesn't jive with where I'm trying to go. So it doesn't jive with the new structure I'm trying to create. And if you're not about it. And plus now we have the individual, the heightened, enlightened individual now kind of saying, okay, wait a minute. This is what we've been dealing with all this time. Let me expand myself to embrace a technology and where this and a community. This is why we're so, if you on social media, I don't know if you guys feel this, but it feels like we're looking for community rather than content. And content that can drive community, we are all about. This is what we're beginning to see. Gel and coalesce. So this nation will look, in fact, very different. However, do not be surprised when there are people that are like, listen, I got to look out for me because we're trying to figure out our structure. We've let them do this for too long. So the true 3-planet overlap runs from right now, 2025, all the way through 2023, about 8.25 years. What makes it feel like almost a century is that Pluto and Neptune keep working the same polarity, Aquarius, Aries, long after Uranus has moved on, creating echoes and aftershocks until Pluto finally leaves in 2044. We had 8.25 years. 8 is a very powerful number. 8 is also a number of abundance. And we're going to feel this for decades. So here we go. This is why it's so rare. I just wanted to show this to you. Uranus it's 84 years to get around, right, the sun. And it takes 84 years before it comes back. So the probability of being in these 3 signs at once is 1 in 12. Neptune is 165 years in orbit. And Pluto is 248 plus. So the odds really are 1 in 17. You get roughly 1 in 1,700 years that this very combination would occur. This combination has never occurred in what we know as the Common Era. The closest brush was, like I said, during the American Revolution. In the 530s CE, Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus were all in fire or air signs, but missed the exact chords. This is highly unique. This is the once in multiple lifetime energy that we're feeling. Okay. So here's some elemental synergies and historical analogs. So when Pluto is in Aquarius, you're going to see collective power shifts, systems, revolutions, and technology as infrastructure. The historical parallel, when 2 out of 3 were matched, the Constitution, French Revolution, our revolution, and the first industrial networks. When Neptune is in Aries, cardinal fire, not fixed air. So fixed air is fixing something in place that's going to move forward for hundreds of years. Cardinal initiates visionary crusades, spiritual activism, and mythic hero stories. So the next time, so this other time when 2 of the 3 was during the Civil War, the emancipation of the global Red Cross, and women's suffrage or voting rights. And then when Uranus was in Gemini, mutable air. So how are we changing and revolutionizing how we communicate? Exponential leaps in communication, AI-like tools, and distributed intelligence. That the last time this was done, where 2 out of the 3 were kind of in conjunction, would have been 1942 to 1949. The radars, first computers, the UN Charter, and the modern era. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, then one more thing here, and then we'll take some. These are the phases I want you guys to watch. You guys can come back to this at any time, and I'll try to also hit some chapters. I should have been hitting chapters this whole time. We are now in the seed spark, which is full overlap, where all 3, this chord they're all harmonizing. And they literally are harmonizing, guys, because they're sextiling and trining. We don't have any squares where there's a discord or a disharmony or like somebody's a little flat or whatever, you know what I'm saying? This is a full-fledged harmony. It feels like it's disharmonious, but it feels that way because we're not used to what this flow really means quite yet. And it feels that way because there's too many people trying to fight the funk. So you just go in and get in your bag, okay? This is a quantum network moment. AI leaps at decentralized expertise. And we're seeing this all the time. We're seeing this, and we'll talk about where I have some opportunities for you all to come and work with me in this arena. Grassroots coalitions challenging nation-state power. We've already seen that. And militantly idealistic movements, both progressive and extremist. We see that as well. I would say some of the progressives are rather extremists. Then after this, so after 2033, then comes the crystallization. So for those 6 years, while Pluto's in Aquarius and Neptune's still in Aries, now we're going to continue to build the systems, right? That to bring in these institution, blockchains or cloud states, space-based industry, bioengineered ecosystems, okay? And then there's this reckoning afterwards, where another turn what could happen. Okay, I don't know if this will completely happen or if things will change. I mean, I think we still have time to change this. And then the echo years will be what happens after something revolutionary. Okay, so I'll put that in the chat. We'll put that in the chat. Okay, so we're going to bring this down. All right. I'm going to put this out here, a couple things I want to put out here, and then down below, guys, tomorrow's my birthday, and I'll be doing birthday readings tomorrow. I think I'm going to come on about 7:30 tomorrow afternoon. I might come on during the day too, but 7:30 in the evening. I'm going to spend most of the day doing some fun stuff. And so I'll be doing readings. If you want to get on that, I'll put this down there. So you guys can get on that and send it in your Cash Apps and your PayPals early, and then you'll be the first ones you'll get in and get off. In the meantime, in between time, there's a couple of things I want to show you guys. Speaking of AI, some of y'all might be aware of this. I'm not sure how many are, how many aren't, but I've been over here building an entire programming. So let me take this down. I'm running this Sunday from noon to 3 Eastern and a niche clarity and offer lab. This is the precursor to the other thing I'm going to share with you. It's not just a vision board, it's a business lab. So if you guys have been wanting to start your business but you want like some prompting, some guidance for the niche and what your offer will be for your niche and your offer. Okay, this is a $97 3-hour lab, and it's the precursor to my AI bootcamp, Coach Build Bootcamp. It's $97. Kitty, move. Oh, cheese and rice. And I'm going to drop in the chat right now where you can go. Let me find the chat. Here is the link for that. Okay, here is the link for that. So you can come and hang out with me. You can click right there and you can register for that, $87 and $97. You could do that as the precursor, and then you're going to get $200 off of this option. I'm doing an AI Coach Build Bootcamp. Basically, we're taking you from niche all the way through to the bitter end to your landing page and your lead magnet. So you'll leave there with the beginnings of that built business, not website as of yet. I might add that in there. I'm doing it virtually August 2nd, 3rd, and then 4th in the evening. And then I'm doing it live in person in New York City. Okay. From August 6th, 7th, and 8th, it'll be down in Manhattan in Midtown. So this is the registration for that. Now, if you do the $97 option, you will also then be able to get $200 off of this. Right now, this, if you want to just jump right there, this is has early bird pricing. It's incredible pricing. I do also send you guys food cards. So in other words, like DoorDash or Uber Eats or whatever, so that you can order food, because these are going to be catered events as well. Anyway, you can register for that. And if you register for that between today and tomorrow, let's say by the 18th, 19th, if you just want to register for that, you can come on over on the 20th for absolute free. We're going to just grandfather you into that. So those are the two options that you have. The information is also down in the description. If you've ever wanted to build an educational or transformational coaching business, this is what I do, right? I help people do that. And I'm also sorry, my cat, Gemini, really just doesn't seem to understand not to be walking around. So come on out and do that and build this business. This is now the time. We were talking about all these innovations and everything. And I've really worked very hard to create a program. It's a literal app, guys, that's going to help you use AI in an ethical manner. Okay. And I'll be right there to give you some human strategies along with it. This is a great time to launch. This is a great time to create something that is your own and that is another stream of income. All right. So that's that. We're also doing readings tomorrow. So for my birthday. So we'll be doing readings for my birthday. Okay. Kitty, get down. I can't see the screen. Gemini, move. Oh, cheese and rice. Okay, let me answer a couple of these questions. You guys, there's also all that information is down in the box below. Also down in the description box below. I'm still having the openings for you guys if you want to go on and schedule readings with me or energy sessions, go on and do that. I'm not going to leave that up for very long for it to be the $100, but I do have some openings and things like that. So please come on over there. I'm really getting back into that energy healing bag. I missed it so much. And so I'm really excited to be able to do it. And if you need to use like Afterpay or something like that, just hit me up and let me know and I'll send you something. Okay. We were talking about a third party before, a third political party. Will the third party be a voice for the people or a Borth? I'm not sure what that means, but of Elon Musk. Y'all cut Elon some slack. Listen, my poor man Elon, listen, y'all don't forget Elon is autistic. And I'm not trying to say, but I am trying to say, don't forget Elon is autistic. So I think a lot of time, what I love about, I have an autistic niece and, autism does run in the family. What I love about Elon is that he says what he says what he means and he means what he says. Now he might speak too quickly, but he also expects for you to say what you mean and mean what you say too. So this is so the question is, will it be of the people? Yes. Do I think that the Elon version is the one that will make it? That will be interesting, because the nice thing about having an Elon Musk is that you have a financial backing. That anytime we've ever attempted a third party, and I know that there's an actual third party right now, the Green Party, but let's be real, nobody really, who pays attention to them? Nobody. Okay. So Elon, I think, the monetary backing would be very interesting, but it will have to be, and it will be for the people and of the people. I do see this country returning to that. We've gone too far, and people are too awake, not in a woke, bad way, but people are too awake. We've gone too far. So I do see it being a party of the third for people. I'm just not sure whether or not Elon is going to be, I don't. And I think that he would be willing to step aside. I think he needs no. I think he knows that he needs to get out of politics and go back to technology. So I do think it'd be other people. Other question that I got that I starred. You can start that. Is something going to happen between November and October? So that you put those two, Deshaun, those two months backwards. Do you mean October and November of this year, or do you mean November of this year and October of next? Thank you so much for the early birthdays. Gemini really is. So just tell me, did you mean this November to next October, or October and November of this year? Deshaun, if you could just tell me that, because I can better answer the question. First of all, let me look. I had to put these dates. When is this retro? If anything's going to major this year, okay, thank you. If anything major kicks off this year, it's probably going to be, I would say, between these. Oh no. When is the first? Let me see when it goes retrograde. From September 6, 2025 to February 3rd of 2026. Yeah, but it's not in Pisces. Okay. October. Okay. I So Neptune goes back into Pisces on October 22nd. And then Uranus goes back into Taurus in November. I think that anytime after November 7th, we could see something interesting happen. However, or around November 7th, usually it's not as much cataclysmic stuff that happens during the retrograde season. So I don't really foresee anything cataclysmic happening. I think there'll be a tad bit of a reprieve and a regroup. What I could see happening, though, is that could be the dawn of, different political parties and some other things happening. We're talking Scorpio season 2. Anything, what's done in the dark come out in the light. So I don't think anything cataclysmic. I don't usually find a lot of cataclysmic stuff that happens like that. But we'll keep a closer eye because I'm not looking at the other planetary transits either. I don't know the aspects of these transits yet. So it's really just, it's a very general. So we'll have to keep an eye on things. Okay, y'all. I've been on here 90 minutes, child. Thank you guys for the birthdays. Now, listen, I'm going to be back. I wanted to talk about this definitely today. Yeah, my little Gemini here giving me the real business, but we're going to go chill out. Thank you so much. So you guys, I want you guys to, if you want to book any of those readings, I will put this in the description again so you can book in your readings earlier. I'll make a that's so weird. I'll make a community post so you guys could know when that's occurring. And yeah, we can do that. Okay. And so tomorrow night I will be doing readings again. So you guys come on through. All right. Celebrate with me tomorrow night. Okay, gang. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste. Bye, gang.